Okay, so if you've ever felt like you're just constantly running on a productivity treadmill, always busy but not really making progress, then this is for you. We are diving into author Cal Newport's playbook for a much smarter, more sustainable way to work, and it all starts by questioning the one tool that most of us use every single day.
So let me just ask you this. Are you a list maker? I mean, is the first thing you do in the morning grabbing a coffee and just jotting down everything you need to get done? And does crossing stuff off that list give you that little rush? Yeah, me too. It's probably one of the most common productivity habits on the planet. But what if it's actually holding you back?
So this is where Cal Newport comes in. He argues that the classic to-do list has this one huge fundamental flaw. He says it's orthogonal to what's actually happening in your day. And that is such a key phrase. What he means is that a list of tasks has zero connection to our most precious, most finite resource, our time, the actual hours in the day. It's just a wish list, really, not a concrete plan.
All right, so if the to-do list is broken, what's the alternative? Well, Newport's solution is an idea that's as simple as it is powerful. Instead of starting with a list of things to do, you start with your time. You literally give every single minute of your day a specific job.
And you can really see the difference here. A to-do list is it's abstract. It's totally disconnected from the reality of your schedule. But a time block plan, that's concrete. It lives on your calendar. You know exactly what you're doing at 10 a.m. and you know what you're doing at 2 p.m. And that simple switch, well, it moves you from just reacting to whatever feels urgent to actually being proactive and intentional with how you spend your day.
And getting started is surprisingly easy. First, you just look at the hours you actually have available, the real, concrete chunks of time. Then you play a little game of Tetris. You match your tasks to those open blocks. That solid 90-minute block in the morning, perfect for that hard project. Those little 15-minute gaps in the afternoon, that's where you knock out emails. And then you just follow the plan.
But here's the thing. Time blocking isn't just a daily tactic. It's actually part of a much bigger philosophy. This is what Newport calls the fixed schedule secret. And it's all built on this really counterintuitive idea that putting strict constraints on yourself is what actually creates freedom and innovation.
So what exactly is fixed scheduled productivity? It's pretty simple, actually. You decide your work hours first. You say, I start at 9 and I stop at 5:30, period. That becomes your container. Then the game becomes figuring out how to make everything, all your projects, your meetings, your goals, fit inside that fixed box. The schedule is the one thing that never changes.
For Cal Newport himself, that container has a very hard, very non-negotiable edge. And that edge is 5:30 p.m. That's it. Work is over. Done for the day. No, I'll just check one more email. No, let me just finish this one thing. The workday has a real definitive end. Now that might sound super restrictive, right? But Newport says it's actually this incredible engine for creativity. When you can't just throw more hours at a problem, you are forced to find a better way, a smarter way, a more efficient way. That constraint literally forces you to innovate, to focus, and to be absolutely ruthless about what truly matters. But why? Why develop a system that's this disciplined? Well, it's not just about being efficient for the sake of it. The origin story here is incredibly human, and it reveals the real genius behind this whole approach, which he calls slow productivity.
You see, this entire framework wasn't dreamed up in some productivity lab. It was actually born out of necessity, from a deeply personal and honestly a surprisingly common struggle. The secret is that Newport has dealt with insomnia, and that experience perfectly highlights the big weakness in that whole hustle and grind culture. He realized his old idea of being productive depended on him being able to just hammer away every single day. But what happens on the days you can't? What happens when you get a terrible night's sleep or when life just throws you a curveball? A system that needs you to be at 100% every day is a system that's pretty much designed to fail.
So he created what he calls an insomnia-compatible system. Slow productivity. And with this, the entire focus shifts. It's no longer about how much did I cross off my list today. Instead, it's about am I making steady, meaningful progress this month? It's all about valuing long-term consistency over short-term intensity. And that creates a system that can actually handle the beautiful messiness of real life. And this all leads to the biggest mindset shift of all. It's about zooming out, way out, from the daily grind and learning to play productivity's long game. It's about starting to think in decades, not just in days. So instead of stressing about one unproductive Tuesday, Newport thinks about his career in these 10-year chunks. What's the mission for my 30s? What do I want to build in my 40s? This long view gives you so much perspective. You know, a season of life where you have young kids and maybe less time for deep work, that's not a failure. It's just one chapter in the decade's much bigger story.
So let's just quickly recap Cal Newport's playbook here. First, ditch that abstract to-do list for a concrete time block plan. Second, embrace constraints, like a hard stop to your workday, to force yourself to be more innovative. Third, build a resilient, slow system that doesn't need you to be a superhero every single day. And finally, lift your eyes up from the frantic hustle of today and focus on the important work of the decade.
And all of that leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. It goes way beyond what's on your list for tomorrow and asks you to think bigger. So, forget today's hustle. What is your decade's work?